Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the regular council public hearing meeting to order, please. Looking for the adoption of minutes first, councillors.
So moved. Second.
Special council of May 8th. Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move minutes be received, council and committee, May 8th.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move minutes be adopted, regular council for land use, May 8th.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move minutes be adopted, regular council public hearing, May 8th.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. We do have a delegation presentation this evening from a Ted DeCrom, the Society of Municipal Arborists, and to talk to us a little bit about the urban forestry program. Ted, good evening, Mr. McCrom, and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you. I'm a longtime member of the Society of Municipal Arborists, also a longtime resident of the city of Surrey. On behalf of the board of the SMA, the Society of Municipal Arborists, I'd like to express my congratulations to you and the city of Surrey for receiving the Municipal Forestry Department accreditation from the SMA. On behalf of the SMA, I'd like to welcome you and your city to an exclusive group of communities that have met the highest standards for municipal forestry. From routine operations to management and planning for your urban forest, the City of Surrey has exceeded international standards and setting an example for others to follow. The accreditation recognizes the dedication you and your urban forestry section staff have given to the City of Surrey and the core of its urban forest. By adhering to accreditation standards, the following best management practices, your urban forest will continue to grow in value and benefit the City of Surrey and its citizens for generations to come. Thank you for your emphasis on urban trees and the environment, and best wishes in your continued success.
Thank you very much. We're indeed pleased to have that recognition and that honor, and special recognition goes out to our staff, and particularly our most recent retired staff member, Owen Croy, for his very significant work in urban forestry. But we're thrilled to have received the award. I know how hard it is to get, and I know the diligence that your association puts behind the applications for such an award, so thank you very much for being here this evening and presenting that to us. Councillors?
Let's get behind the
Well, that was a lovely way to start off our evening, and I would ask Council for their indulgence in bringing forward on the agenda two corporate reports from our Sustainability Office, R115 and R116. One is the Community Climate Action Strategy, and the second one is the 2016 reporting of climate action. All those in favour? Opposed? Carried. And going first into R115, the Action Strategy, Community Climate Action Strategy. and Councillor Starchuk. Would you like to speak to that? It's on the floor.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to thank Anna and her team for doing just an absolutely great job on these corporate reports and the work that they do to kind of clean up our air that we have that we're breathing on a regular basis, and to take the time to put together something that allows us time to think about what's there. And I'm also very pleased to be in Ottawa, I believe on the 3rd in the afternoon, to accept an award on behalf of the city and getting to the level 5 or whatever that number 5 is. I know I'd rather be at a level 1, but it just makes me proud to be in this position right now. I mean, being presented the award on behalf of the work that you guys do is just awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Hayne.
Thanks, Madam Mayor, and I'd echo my my fellow councillors' sentiments there, and the work that we're doing at the city. And one of just we had a presentation this afternoon at Land Use, and one of the things that struck me was the amount of GHG reductions, our emission target reductions, and the very real work that's going on. We're going to be opening our biofuel facility next month. It's going to come online, and by diverting our green waste to the biofuel facility, we're going to be reducing our GHG emissions by about 40,000 tons, if I remember correctly from the presentation. And that's a significant amount, and it's something that we in Surrey can all be very proud of in participating in that waste reduction and waste diversion from landfills and sending it where it should go. So I just commend staff for that kind of work.
Thanks for that recognition, Councillor Hayne. I think it's also timely to recognize the work that's being done on the coastal flood protection as well through this climate action strategy. So a lot of good work and much more to come, and we look forward to the award that we're getting. I believe it is the highest award given for climate action strategy anywhere in the country. So we're pleased to see that. I'll call the question. All those in favour? Opposed? And that's carried. R116.
Move recommendations.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you, councillors. Moving on to the public hearing portion of the evening. First up is bylaw number 1. Madam Clerk.
Is Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw 19252 and Zoning Amendment Bylaw 19253. The address is 17326 and 17360 100th Avenue. The applicants are 1097599 BC Limited. The applicant is seeking to redesignate the site from suburban to urban and rezone the site from 1 acre residential to single-family residential. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the site into 9 single-family lots. In addition, a development variance permit is being sought to reduce the lot depth for proposed Lot 1, the front yard setback for proposed Lots 1, 2, 3, and 9, reduce the side yard setback for proposed Lot 2, and increase the total paved driveway area for proposed Lots 2 to 5 in order to achieve a functional floor plan and accommodate side access garages so that the vehicles don't have to back out onto 100th Avenue.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I don't have anyone signed up to speak to this, nor do we have any correspondence on table. Is there anyone wishing to speak to bylaw number 1? Deb?
Good evening. Deb Jack, Surrey Environmental Partners. With regards to this, just to note that 53 of 53 trees are going to be killed off. However, 41 trees are going to be protected in a buffer. And so my question arising from that is, what protections are provided to ensure that the buffer is maintained in healthful condition over time? I was unable to contact the planner today.
Okay, thanks. I'll ask that question through our planner, but I believe it is there's a timeline and a fee.
Correct. Yeah, Madam Mayor, there will be a covenant registered on title to protect the buffer area. As well, the city will be collecting securities to ensure the installation and maintenance of that buffer area.
Okay.
So does it get examined on an annual, biannual, every 5 years basis or something like that?
Madam Mayor, it's usually there's a 1-year maintenance period at which time the city would inspect, and if the vegetation is in good condition, we release 90% of the securities, and then we go back a year later and release the remaining 10% if the trees are still in good condition at that time.
So it's an annual.
Excellent. And the other question was, do we know what the community benefit's going to be?
Okay, that's negotiated as this goes.
Madam Mayor, on this one, the site is within the Abbey Ridge neighborhood concept plan area, so they will pay amenity charges in accordance with the NCP.
Okay, it's a fee in accordance with the NCP.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to this bylaw? Move on, please, Madam Clerk, to bylaw number 2.
Is zoning amendment bylaw 19251. The address is 5989 128th Street. The applicants are Harwinder and Sukhbir Chima. The applicants are seeking to rezone the property from 1-acre residential to single-family residential 10. The applicants are proposing to subdivide the property into 2 single-family lots facing 128th Street. The southern portion of proposed Lot 2 is to remain undeveloped for a future consolidation with the adjacent property at 5977 128th Street.
I have no one signed up, nor anyone wishing to speak to this bylaw. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to bylaw number 2 this evening? Madam Clerk, the third bylaw, please.
Is zoning amendment bylaw 19256. The addresses are 13935 and 13967 60th Avenue. The applicants are Parmajit Jagdish Niger and Sabjit Tagar. The applicants are seeking to rezone the site from 1-acre residential to single-family residential 10, single-family residential 12, and single-family residential 13. The applicants are proposing to subdivide the site into 27 single-family lots, 20 RF10, 5 RF12, and 2 RF13. In addition, a development variance permit is being sought to reduce the rear yard setback from 20 feet to 18 feet for proposed lots 1 through 5 in order to allow for functional floor plans.
And on this one, we have 2 pieces of correspondence on table, one in opposition and one expressing concern around hedge damage. And I have three persons signed up wishing to speak. First up is Bill or Ruby Hennessy. You could give if you have something that you would like staff to put on the screen.
Thank you, Madam
Good
Mayor.
evening, sir. And Ruby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Hi.
Council. I'm Bill and Ruby Hennessy here at 6077 140th Street. Our property borders the subject property. We share about 300 feet of the west side of our property and the south side. And if we could see the first slide there. We've lived in our house. We had our house built 38 years ago, and we've put every single tree except one on our property that's there now, and we've invested a lot of time and effort in the hedging. And you can see the columnar cedars in the back. Those 2 large cedar trees are going to be coming down, and they will probably impact those our trees there. So we want to make sure that those trees are replaced. Or if any that's damaged or taken out are replaced with 8 to 10 foot high emerald cedars to replace what is there now. Next slide, please. And on the other property, you can see the fence line. That's the cedar tree has significantly bowed the fence, and we'd like to have that fence replaced with a 6 foot high solid cedar fence when the development goes ahead, to keep out pets and kids and things from getting into our property. So next, please. And now this is on the south side. Some of these emerald cedars are now 20 feet high, and that large cedar tree halfway down is having to come down to make way for the roadway. And you can see from the lower one, there's some smaller trees there, kind of dwarfed by the cedar, stunted. They've asked us for 5-meter right-of-way on our property along that full length. There's a lot of rhododendrons and other bushes, decorative bushes we've got that we wouldn't like to see torn out and replanted. So if the issue they have is in taking down that tree, there's nothing in the immediate area of that tree. There's at least 6 meters from the center of that tree that we'd be quite happy to give them right away for and access for taking down that tree. But we don't think they need the full length of that shared property to tear out all our bushes for I don't know for what purpose. We're hoping that they can retain all of our hedging trees.
And then 60A Avenue will be behind there, and that's adjacent to our property, and it's just going to be a half road at that point in time until we leave our property. And so we would like to request that the City of Surrey would also put up some no parking signs along there. There's going to be an alley between the properties coming from 60th down, and they'll have adequate parking with their double-car garage if they use it, a parking pad, and human nature being what it is, that little tiny half row immediately behind our property would be a very easy choice to stock with all kinds of parked vehicles. And we know legally it's not supposed to be, but human nature will put it there because it's just a quiet little dead-end street. So we're asking that the city would just put up some no parking signs along there when that happens.
Okay, and that...
And the last slide. Just our little closure here. So that's the planting. A lot of those rhodos have been put in as our grandchildren were born. We put in a rhodo in commemorating the event, and so 5 meters temporary easement would take out all of that planting. And so we're hoping that something can be done with engineering, that they do not have to do that. And we're just closing with, this is our spectacular view. This is the reason we have stayed at our property for 39 years. And off in the distance, that big white building, that's you guys. We're watching you grow. And we're hoping that, we've weathered 5 years of really intense growth around where we are right now. And each time we look for a different place to live, we come back to this is the best place to be. So we're really pleased with what's happening. We just want to protect our privacy and our quality.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments tonight.
Thank you.
Next up is Victor Chan. Victor and Judy.
Good evening. I'm Victor Chan. We live on 13987 60th Avenue, which is just east to the properties that are going to be developed. 38 years ago, when we first moved in, the neighbor who owned that piece of land decided to have a natural barrier between us and planted cedar, Douglas fir trees, mostly Douglas fir, that currently is under possibility of being removed with this development. Obviously, this natural barrier has served its purpose up to this point, but we'd like to see it replaced if indeed the trees are taken away with a natural barrier of a cedar fence 6 feet on a continual basis or continuous basis from south to north, so that we don't have to have either neighbors or other people wandering out into our property inadvertently, period. It would, of course, be best if the trees weren't removed, but I think that would be impractical based on what is being proposed.
Thank you for your comments. Did you want to add anything, Judy?
No, I agree.
She's giving me support.
She's just... Well, you did a great job. Thank you very much for your comments. And now we have Susan Wacker. I hope I've said that correctly. Susan?
Can I have this placed on the overhead?
An overhead? Yes.
Thank you. So, is this in the right place? Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the Council. So my name is Susan Wacker, and I am one of the owners, along with my mother, of 13905 60th Avenue, and that's the property bordering right on the west of this proposed subdivision. And I first want to say we're not opposed to the subdividing of this property, because we are also interested in subdividing our own property. And we had plans to subdivide that in the fairly near future. However, we feel strongly that this proposed layout will seriously impact the subdivision potential and value of our property. I have sent an email to the city clerk and the mayor and councillors outlining in detail our reasons for our concerns and why I feel that this project should go back to the planning department so that the neighboring properties, such as ours, can be more fairly included in the development of the area. So specifically the main points, the subdivision is asking to make an amendment to the NCP and to where once there was just a cul-de-sac coming off of 60th Avenue to have a through road, future 139th Street. But this road, we feel, is sort of heavily weighted onto our property along with the cul-de-sac and not leaving us with a lot of development potential for the rest of the land. We have almost the entirety of the road on the southern part of the property is on our land and only 3 meters on the neighboring development, whereas on the northern part of that road, we have 5.7 meters and they only have 12.3 meters. So first of all, we feel it's an unfair distribution of that road. And we're further burdened with the difficulty of having to respect the City of Surrey's new riparian setback, streamside setback bylaw, which we have to allow 15 meters from the top of bank of a stream that affects the northwestern part of our property. So we don't have a lot of space for lots between the streamside setback and the proposed road position. The drawing that you see before you has indicated some rather peculiar and odd-shaped lots that we feel would be difficult to sell and to build houses on, and so we're not that happy with the layout the way it is. We also feel that the top of bank was not surveyed by the proposed development, so we don't really have a true representation of where the top of bank actually is and where the setback will in the end be. We don't have environmental consultation on that. Since we learned about the subdivision development, we ourselves started working with WSP Engineering and had Cameron survey the top of bank, and it actually varies from how it's drawn on this layout. And again, we still need to get environmental consultancy on it to know where the top of bank actually will be. So we feel that it's very difficult to say how the layout and the position of the road really can be and still allow us to place lots on the northern part of the property. We do feel that that road could go further to the east and that we could then place lots in that area that will not depend upon requesting a variance from the streamside setback and still respect the streamside riparian zone without having to infringe on it. If the road can be moved further to the east, that would benefit that as well. Basically, also, we feel, aside from road placement, that the lot distribution is unfair. We feel that the 2-acre parcel that is the same size as ours is going to have 17 lots on it, while we're only going to be able to realize 10 full strange-shaped lots, and then a number of lots that we have to then share land with the neighboring properties. If we plan to develop in the near future, and they don't intend to develop, then we're kind of stuck with some lots that are incomplete and cannot be sold or do anything with until the neighboring property can be join us in development. So, and then we're in the situation where we have to deal with whoever's developing that property to reach some kind of agreement on how to finish the job, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, what I'd like to say is that we were not involved in any of this process of planning the subdivision. Nobody approached us when the initial designs were being drawn. We were never advised by either the developers or HY Engineering that some subdivision was going to be going in there, and so we really had very little chance for input. We really only found out about it very shortly before the development proposal signs were erected and the letter sent in the mail. And so we were then scrambling to have our own input into the development of our property. And this is why we, as soon as we found out, we approached WSP Engineering and have been working with them since. And we do, at this point, have an alternate proposal that we would like to have the opportunity to submit. And therefore, we also understand that the City of Surrey has a fairness policy for developments that ensures that each owner gets a good value and equal potential for the development of their properties. And as such, we would like to have an equal amount of lot potential as this proposed development. And so in consideration of all this, we ask that the Council recommend that this subdivision proposal go back to planning so that we can develop a plan for the area that benefits all parties and give us an opportunity to submit our own proposal. Thank you.
Can I just ask if you have met with our own city staff in terms of talking about the development potential of your property?
Yes, we did, actually, because when we contacted WSP, it was, I believe, November of 2016, November 22nd. I actually have the date in my letter to Council and to yourself, Madam Mayor. We did have a meeting with some members of the planning department at that time, and I expressed my concerns about the lack of information about the riparian zone and the position of the road and what we would ultimately be left with for our lots. And we indicated to them that we were working on our own designs, and we have since then been working, like I said, with WSP. And there have been a number of personal letters that we wrote, not through the engineering firm, but on our own to the planning department to remind them that we were still working on our designs. And we made numerous phone calls, and even as recently as April of this year, without really getting any response from the planning department. So,
okay, thank you, and thank you for your comments tonight.
Thank you.
I have no one else signed up to speak to Bylaw 3. Did you wish to speak to the bylaw, ma'am? Okay.
My name is Lori Joyce. I'm with HY Engineering here on behalf of the owners of the property. I just wanted to go through the comments that were raised tonight in the order that they were presented. We are developing some private agreements right now with regards to tree removal, tree retention, restoration. We're unsure about working easements at this time. We haven't gotten into the detailed design work to find out if we'll need it to construct the half road. We just wanted to let the owners know that it may be required, but we'll definitely work with them to try and find a middle ground and make sure that they're comfortable with what we're proposing for tree removal. I just wanted to touch on the proposal that we have today. I actually have had quite a number of discussions with Mrs. Wacker, the speaker's mother, who also owns the property. So we've gone back and forth. We've sent them the concepts as they become developed. We've actually done an alternative to the one that she brought up today. So there are a couple of alternatives for her property, for proposed development. We did have our BC land surveyors go out to her site and survey the neighboring water course that's on the city property just to establish a top of bank, and then an environmental consultant confirmed the setback requirements for that property. The road alignment was established with working with the Transportation Department to line it up with the north part of 139th Street that's existing and the existing 139th Street south of 60th Avenue. So we tried our best to make sure that the road was shared. It's obviously varies in different areas of the development. The land use and zoning that we propose for this site is consistent with the NCP density and land use that was included. The original road alignment in the NCP did have cul-de-sacs. However, the city's transportation department advised that they requested that 139th Street is a through road, which we revised our application and requested an NCP amendment to address transportation department's request to put it as a through road. And I think just the overall density is, consistent with the NCP. We definitely try to make sure that we looked at the other properties and that everybody was maximizing their lot yield, and it was consistent with the NCP. Thank you.
What about the 6-foot cedar fencing?
Yeah, our clients are open to working with the neighbors to provide privacy if any of the hedge trees are required to be removed.
Councillor Gill.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just in terms of the alternative layouts, can you expand on the conversations that you had with Mrs. Wacker, please? In terms of what worked and what didn't work?
Sure. Through the mayor to Councillor Gill, we had discussed, obviously there were concerns with the impacts of the creek location. She had concerns about the road alignment that was being proposed. So we did try and formulate an alignment that would line up to transportation's request, but still have enough area that lots could be achieved on the west side of the proposed 139th Street. The layout that she had shown, the sketch was done, it does have unique lots that were proposed, but through discussions with the planning department, we revised that accordingly and sent it into the planning department. So at that point, we didn't have direct contact with Mrs. Wacker, but we were under the impression that she was being forwarded that information.
Excuse me. So did you have an opportunity to work with the Mrs. Wacker's design consultant, WSP?
I did speak with them a couple of times, but I didn't hear back from them after that.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, bylaw number 4, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Was there a hand up for anyone else wishing to speak to this bylaw? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, member of the councillors. My name is Dexter Harabi. I am with WSP. I'm also representing the owner of 13905 60th Avenue. I just wanted to mention that we have not received any alternative layouts from HY Engineering, as well as from the City of Surrey, how this property both properties could be developed together. We do have an option that we think it is workable for both parties, and we're in the process of submitting an application to the city imminently, and we just wanted to have an opportunity to submit that our proposals to the City of Surrey, and that's what we wanted to.
Councillor Gill?
Yes, actually.
It begs the question, why have you not sent your alternative solution to the...
We just completed the reviews that we needed to complete with the city. One thing that I wanted to mention is that the property to the west of us, it's the creek, it's on that property. So there was an issue of access and working with the neighborhood. So it took a little bit longer than what we expected, but we do have a plan that we think is workable for both parties, and we'd like to submit that opportunity to work with the consultant as well as the City of Surrey.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, bylaw. Oh, okay. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to bylaw number 3? Do I see any hands? No. Okay, you are the final speaker.
Deb Jack, Surrey Environmental Partners. Just to bring to your attention that out of 127 trees on the site, 125 are going to be killed off. And amongst those will be 56 Douglas firs, and there are 58 red cedars. They are going to keep 2. I don't know where they're going to be located on the properties here. Each lot is going to have 1 tree because they're going to be replacing with 27. So that gives a considerable deficit. Now, I didn't plan this, I promise, but given the heat that we've been experiencing the last couple of days and reviewing this and taking a look at the 25 lots in a relatively small area, got to thinking about energy usage and air conditioning. And of course, we had comment earlier today to Council with regards to the whole issue of energy consumption. And some time ago, Surrey Environmental Partners was talking to Council about how we felt that green roofs would be essential, ought to be essential for all industrial, commercial, and institutional buildings. Virtually all instances, they're flat. The large towers are also flat-topped. And I wondered, as I was coming here today, what about the issue of how are we going to conserve energy more on these smaller houses? Maybe they need to have flatter roofs so they can have green roofs. I don't know. But it seems to me that this might be something that we ought to collectively be thinking about. But as once again, it's a lot of trees that are getting killed off, a lot of loss to the matrix of the city.
Thank you for your comments. Madam Clerk, I hesitate, but I think we're into bylaw number 4.
Number 4 is zoning, zoning amendment bylaw 19260. The address is 14418 and 14462, 72nd Avenue. The applicant is Amson Center 72 Limited. The applicant is seeking to rezone the site from 1 acre residential to comprehensive development. The applicant is proposing to develop a commercial residential building with 8 apartment units above, 9 commercial retail units in a proposed building 1, and 9 ground level commercial retail units in proposed building 2.
Thanks, Madam Clerk. We have on table a letter in opposition to this, and I have one person signed up to speak. Mr. or Ms. Farstad, G. Farstad. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mayor and Council. My name is Graham Farstad, Arlington Group Planning and Architecture, representing the applicant. The applicant retained me to consult with the adjacent neighbors in light of the change in the neighborhood community plan. I met with the Strata Councils North and South and the Punjabi Christian Church to the east, and that's documented in the record from a year or so ago. I also met in the last week, again, once the detailed plans became available, and just wanted to report that the position of the Strata Councils and the church have not changed. I'd like to leave a letter from a resident on the north side of unit number 9 at Sequoia Green, indicating that he supports the rezoning of the vacant site, and the proposed mixed-use development will add local community shopping in the immediate neighborhood, which is something which is really needed here. So if I can leave that letter with the clerk's office.
Seconder?
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, and we have received formally that.
And the other item was I met with the Strata Council members on Saturday afternoon at their request. They indicated they were supportive of the development, but they had a number of concerns which they would like brought forward. A couple of them involved transportation issues. They say the intersection is quite congested, and they would like to see the arterial upgrading take place as soon as possible. They would also like to see for westbound traffic along 72nd, the opportunity of a left turn movement similar to the northbound to westbound left turn movement that's allowed from 144th. So those are two transportation issues. They had 5 issues they also wanted to bring forward on the site. They're all minor site development issues which the applicant is agreeable to. Most of them involve security issues. The residents are quite concerned about minimizing crime in the area, so they would like to see a solid fence along the southern boundary. There already is a solid fence constructed by the Strata Council, but they would like to see the applicant add one, and the applicant is quite agreeable to that. They're concerned about traffic after hours coming in and congregating for untoward activities and then moving out to the other access. So they would like to see a security gate for after hours installed on one of the accesses. The applicant is agreeable to that along 72nd Street. They would like to see no 24-hour convenience store. They're quite supportive of a convenience store, but not 24 hours. The applicant is agreeable to that as well. There's one non-security issue which they brought forward, and that concerns the garbage container, which is actually in the most prominent location right in the middle of the site. The number of the residents have balconies on their second floor that would overlook right where the garbage container is, and they've objected to that on aesthetic grounds, and they don't think it's a good most appropriate location. And the applicant actually agrees with that and would like to see that moved to a location perhaps on the southeast portion next to some trees that are being retained that are already on the site. And so we would like to work with the city to make a minor adjustment in that, because these are concerns that the residents next door have raised, and as a good neighbor, my applicant, the owner, would certainly like to work with the adjacent property owners because they've had a cooperative relationship.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you for your comments, Graham. Okay. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to bylaw number 4?
Deb Jack, Surrey Environmental Partners. Having spoken to the issue of green roofs, here we have a good example of possibility that could have been considered. I should say that this site is from my greater neighborhood where I live in central Newton. 73 of 79 trees are going to be killed off on this site, but there are a retention of 6 Douglas firs. There is a comment with regards to one very large Douglas fir, and it's not clear to me if that's the one that is in the southeast corner where there are several trees. It seems to be a very significant tree. It being far from the road, I haven't seen it directly. I was espousing for matrixes I do, noted that there's a 6-meter buffer is generally sought, but there's going to be a 5-meter buffer because it's considered sufficient. Well, that's essentially 3 feet 3 inches narrower, and I'm wondering why it would just be considered sufficient. So how far down do you go from an expected 6 meters? Seems to me a reasonable question.
To the planners, do you have a response for why?
Yeah, Madam Mayor.
Seems to be sufficient.
Madam Mayor, planning staff are happy with the 5-meter buffer. There was consultation with the neighboring property in this regard. Yeah.
So they've worked in the neighborhood and it is sufficient.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on bylaw 4? Madam Clerk, bylaw number 5, please.
Is zoning amendment bylaw 19258. The address is 5891 172nd A Street. The applicant is Pierre Homes Limited. The applicant is seeking to rezone the property from single-family residential to single-family residential 13. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the property into 3 single-family small lots.
We have 2 pieces of correspondence on table tonight in opposition, and we have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone wishing to speak to it? Come forward, sir. Good evening.
Evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Rob Nadila. I live at 5868 172A Street, so a few lots south of the proposed development. And I'm not set against the development itself. I think myself and my neighbors are against the proposed unused road allowance being put through to 172 Street. And this road has been a no exit scenario for as long as I've known. Obviously, I moved in 2008, and I talked to neighbors who live up right at the end where the cul-de-sac, sort of half cul-de-sac there, and they're confused as well because they were told a long time ago that that road was not going to get put through. The cul-de-sac was going to be finished off, and that would be it. So this first development is actually part and parcel to the lot that's just north of there, that big empty lot. So what's essentially going to happen is, I guess, the top one be divided into 8, the bottom one divided into 3, and then supposedly, in the future, the other one divided. And what our neighborhood is requesting is that the road not go through, so 172, keep it a dead end, no exit, finish off the cul-de-sac. And I think, in correspondence I've had with the city, suggested if something needs to go through, do what is done on the other side, which is a path to connect to 170 pedestrian path. That seems acceptable to put. So it might shave off a little bit of the development potential, but in essence keeps the road no exit and the enjoyment for families to live on the street. Because when this is subdivided, it seems like it is going to be young families or families that are going to move in there, and that's fine. And they're going to obviously enjoy a dead-end street a lot more than a street that would go right through to 172. Because as it stands right now, I think a lot of my neighbors are looking at what happens during rush hour. Highway 10, it backs up all the way to 172, and it's pretty much a racetrack all the way up 172 to 60th, or down 58th, cutting through our neighborhood, going about 80K, with kids playing. And then so in essence, it'll make things worse when it isn't. It doesn't seem like a very difficult ask to not have that road go through.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. Councillor Hayne.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sir, I'm just trying to understand you better with 59 Avenue, which is unconstructed now, going through west to 172. If that doesn't go through and the cul-de-sac bulb is finished off there, just where the 59 Avenue is on an angle there, how would that property to the north? How would you open up that property to the north when it develops? So I don't see an alternative for the rest of that property to finish off.
Have it like dead end on each side, like have part of it connect to 172.
172A.
172. But if there's so if you divide that property to the north into
what's proposed, I believe, is 8 lots. Yeah.
Right. So I don't, and maybe my question really should be to staff and engineering and how they could access that. Is that a possibility to be able to access that property to the north without punching that road through?
Mr. Engineer.
Madam Mayor, the lot to the north of the unopened road allowance for 59th Avenue is under a subdivision application at this time. The zoning is RF, and they are proposing 9 single-family lots that will open up 59th Avenue, constructing that portion of roadway between 172nd Street to 172A Street. This portion of 59th Avenue was always intended to be opened up at some point upon development applications.
So they'll complete the, just to clarify, that half cul-de-sac would be completed, and then the 9
Madam Mayor, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Subdivision is on the screen at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does that help, Councillor?
It does, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for your comment, sir. Do I have any other speakers for Bylaw 5 this evening? Madam Clerk, next bylaw, please.
Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 19259. The addresses are 5940 176th Street. The applicant is Annesley Cloverdale Holdings Limited. The applicant is seeking to rezone the site from single-family residential to multiple residential 30. The applicant is proposing to develop 59 townhouse units. In addition, a development variance permit is being sought to reduce the setbacks along the east, west, and south property lines in order to achieve a more efficient site layout.
Okay, we have on table a single piece of correspondence in opposition regarding setbacks. And I have no one signed up to speak to this bylaw. Is there anyone wishing to speak to Bylaw 6? Kate, please come forward, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Brent Delcourt. I live at 5931 176th Street. And it's not that I disagree with them putting in this subdivision. I just have some concerns with the roads in the area. 60th at 60th precisely. Off 176A, we basically can't get hardly any traffic out right now going down to Highway 15. Anyone coming out and trying to turn west down to 15 there pretty much blocks all the through traffic southbound on 60th Avenue, or sorry, westbound on 60th Avenue. So I'd like to see, as I have in the alley behind my place, I'm a large lot almost directly across it on the left there from the RF property, 5931. So I have an alley behind my home there right now that's basically a throughway for the whole subdivision. And they've got built at the north end of it a piece of concrete across so you can come into the alley or out, but you can't actually cross the roadway to go westbound. And I suggest that if we're going to have close to 100 cars, I imagine, coming in and out of that new neighborhood there, it might be wise to do a similar thing at that intersection at 176A and 60th. There is a light already at 177 that if the people come through the neighborhood, they have excellent access to get in and out on the highway or cut through the Cloverdale area town and come out at 59th, I think it is.
Could we just have the transportation relative to this application put on screen, please? Do you have one for there we are. Okay, thank you. So I'm sorry, sir, where is your property?
I'm 5931, just out right there.
Okay. And the rat run is right behind your property?
Yeah, the alley straight behind my lot there. If you run north up that alley behind my house, it comes up onto 60th Avenue, and currently they have a piece of concrete median on the center line, so you can come eastbound into the alley and you can go out eastbound, but you can't actually go up the alley and make a westbound turn.
Okay, and you're suggesting that this application...
Yeah, on 176A now, when you come up 176A, there's so much traffic trying to get up there during the day already before these homes are built that you can't really get in onto 60th Avenue to head westbound. So everyone is already funneling down to the Bose farm where they built what is probably 300 homes down there now.
Yes.
And so there's so much traffic running up and down 60th Avenue there. When you come up by the 7-Eleven property, you virtually can't get across there. So the people who do try and get out there block all the westbound traffic coming down through the area. And traffic is now backing up all the way past the casino to the park up there. So the other question I had about this new neighborhood is I do see on the drawing that they've sent, they have a small road that kind of cuts across the lot. I don't know if you have this drawing here. Yes, okay, so there's a small road that's proposed. It looks like it cuts on top of the old Cloverdale Creek bed. So that would be heading from 176A out towards the Highway 15. And then it sort of parallels along the edge of 15 there. And it looks like it ties into the old 176th Street in Cloverdale. Now, I don't have that attached to the drawing here. There is a dead end right at the end of town, right by the cold beer and wine store. That is the old end of 176th Street, and I wondered if this street is supposed to tie into it. So now,
is that where the tie-in is?
So does this street tie into the old 176th Street in Cloverdale? Yes. If so, that at least gives them a second access to get in and out of this subdivision, rather than everyone funneling out onto 176A and trying to hit the highway and head out to the freeway.
Who can answer that? Mr. Engineer?
Madam Mayor, the roads that are currently shown on the screen are private internal roads. They're not intended to connect to any city roads. As far as any access restrictions or improvements to this area, that's something that we can certainly have a discussion with the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure. This is within their jurisdiction, and we need to consult them with any changes and improvements.
Okay, when it's a highway.
No, it's not into the highway. The original town street of 176, I'm sorry, the original town street of 176 actually comes up and almost butts, it looks like, right into the end of where this road is proposed to come to. And I'm just wondering if this is actually tying into the road, which is right now a dead end. I don't know if you put your Google map back up again, you should be able to see that the original street there for Cloverdale.
Madam Mayor, that portion of road will not connect into the internal road for this development.
Okay. And that's why I was thinking if you had two accesses to this site, it would probably be a lot easier for traffic to make its way in and out of there with possibly 100 vehicles coming in and out of there during the day.
Okay, it's not correlated. It's not part of the application.
So is this a gated community type setup that's going in here then, or? It seems like an awful lot of vehicles to come in and out one driveway.
Is there a gate? Is this a gated community? I don't think so.
Madam Mayor, no, I don't believe it's intended to be a gated community. The driveway access is out to 176A Street.
It's got the center access onto 176A.
Okay, yeah, and I see that, and that's why I'm saying with all these vehicles trying to access in and out just that one, I believe, access point, it's really going to congest 60th Avenue, which is already quite overburdened. That's pretty much all I really wanted to say about it.
I appreciate your comments.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I have a question from Councillor Woods, if you, just a moment. It may be, okay. Question of staff, Councillor?
It is, but it relates to what the speaker just said. Actually, I'm curious, why wouldn't that one road, could you just put up the schematics you just had, connect to the old 176? If you could just pull it up a little bit. Why?
Property. There's other property.
Does it line up with the old one, or with the 176?
If it doesn't, it's by probably half a street length or something.
Well, let's get the staff to confirm that, or deny.
So, if we were to put the Google map up as well, does this line up close, or there we are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, maybe not.
So it doesn't look like it's going to. Well, but ultimately it could with a bit of a jog.
Well, I don't know, Madam Mayor, if there's enough space there.
Madam Mayor, there is insufficient room to connect it, as well as it's an internal road to a public road, as well as having that extra lot in there.
And it looks like it would have to take over someone else's property. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Does that work, Councillor? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much for your comments, sir.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
sorry.
you.
Okay. Anyone else on this application, number 6? Good evening, sir.
Madam Mayor and Council, that last map you guys had up, the first time you put it up, there was an address in the top where the white was at, and the second and third time it came up. Was that just a mistake? When he first came up, you guys went to that nice picture map. There was an address in that little white top. No, the one that...
The Google one. Cosmos map.
Yeah. See that white box? There was an address in there. Was that just an error? Or the first time the map went up, it said 110th and some other street.
Oh, it may have been just the layer that wasn't put on top of it. Perhaps there may have been a different layer, but...
Was it just an error?
The Cosmos Systems has a number of layers of information you could put on there. It may have just been
Thank you.
The layer that he was showing. Yeah. Anyone else on bylaw 6? This application? Okay, Madam Clerk, could I have bylaw number 7, please?
This is zoning amendment bylaw number 19254. The addresses are 15633 and 15673 Mountain View Drive. The applicant is TM Crest Homes 2007 Limited. The applicant is seeking to rezone the site from 1 acre residential and comprehensive development, bylaw number 18538, to comprehensive development. The applicant is proposing to develop 87 townhouse units on the site.
Okay, I have 3 pieces of correspondence on table tonight in opposition to this development. I would remind Council that the 66 on the CD portion of this application has already been approved. This is 12 on the RA section. So we have opposition letters on table, but I have no one signed up to speak to it. Does anyone wish to speak to bylaw 7? First call. Am I missing a hand? Last call for bylaw 7. Thank you. Next bylaw, Madam Clerk.
Is zoning amendment bylaw 19255. The address is 16755 20th Avenue. The applicant is Balandra Development Incorporated. The applicant is seeking to rezone the property from 1 acre residential to single family residential 10. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the property into 10 single family small lots. Proposed lot 5 will not be developed at this time, as it will be used to provide temporary rear lane access from 20th Avenue.
We have no correspondence on table with respect to this, and there is no one signed up to speak to this. Is there anyone wishing to speak to the bylaw, 8th bylaw on the agenda tonight? Madam Clerk, bylaw number 9, please.
Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw 19243 and Zoning Amendment Bylaw 19257. The address is 12661 110th Avenue, and the applicant is Waterstone Holdings No. 2 Limited. The applicant is seeking to redesignate the site from commercial and mixed employment to multiple residential and insert the subject site table 7A land use designation exceptions and rezone the site from comprehensive development bylaw 11076 to comprehensive development. The applicant is proposing to develop 4 6-story buildings containing 514 rental dwelling units and ground floor retail space. Proposed buildings A, residential only, and B, mixed use, will be on proposed lot 1, and proposed building C, mixed use, and D, residential only, will be on proposed lot 2.
And we have no correspondence nor anyone wishing to speak to this bylaw that has signed up. Is there anyone wishing to speak to this? Deb? And then you, sir? You, okay.
Deb Jack, Surrey Environmental Partners. First off, I understand that the issue of the community benefit is being still under discussion, so that nobody can give me an answer about what that might be. I wondered why, in reading this report, that Parks had no concerns when there will be at least 514 people and perhaps near 1,000 who are going to be living in this development, and they would not. I wondered why there were no concerns. Further to that, would like to say that, speaking for the overall matrix of the city, we have some positives here. The proponent agreed to plant larger tree species around the perimeter than had been originally suggested. And there's going to be an increase of 8,482 square feet in outdoor amenity space, much of which is going to be in the living green thing, which will provide for contribution to the overall city matrix, in addition to which the health and well-being of the people who are going to be living there. Just thought I'd bring that to your attention.
Thank you very much. Sir, I think I had yes. You're up next. And then I think I saw another hand.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I live on 11019 129th Street. I've owned that property for a couple decades. And so it's adjacent to 128th Street and 110th. And I've noticed here it's like 514 apartments. And I'm just worried about crime in the area. I mean, I live in the hood of Wally, and it's right now, even you're showing like properties on the right side of 128th Street, but they're not. That's all bush, right? And so there's homeless living in there. And then having just strictly rentals. I lived in rentals in East Van, and even down in Oakland, California, and that. And when you have strictly just rental, you're going to have a lot of crime. And I don't oppose to having something built there, residential, and for business. But if it could be condos and rentals, so the people that own condos can watch over too. Because just by looking at that, not only that, 110th Street, you're building 2 arenas adjacent on the IL-1, and with single-lane traffic going back and forth with over 1,000, maybe 1,500 people living there. You got Home Depot where it says CD, several hundred vehicles going that back and forth, and all the traffic coming down 128th to go to the SkyTrain at CPR, and people trying to cut off from King George because the traffic on King George and 120 is a nightmare right now. Well, has been for several years. Are you going to be building like 2 lanes going to 110th there? So when you have the arenas and you have an extra 1,500 people and who knows how many vehicles coming around and turning up to 128th to get onto King George, what are you going to do for traffic? And for the community, I mean, just why do we have to always have I don't know. It would be nice to have something like condos to go with. I mean, that's the whole reason I bought a nice property of half an acre, and to be around that area now to have major concerns. I already have concerns where on 128th where it looks like you have property there, but it's not. It's all bushes, and I'm once a week or once every 2 weeks phoning the police trying to get these guys out of the bushes, right? So.
And where's your property, sir?
11019 129th Street. So for you, right where it says 128th, right there, up 2 sets where it says 129th.
Okay.
And 128 there, those are, right there. And right behind me, to the left, all that is all bush. Like it shows it's like property, but it's not. It's all like
those are just property lines, but they're covered in
cedars and pine and whatnot behind there, and it's all open space. So, I mean, and now to have just all rentals, I mean, I don't mind it having rentals. You have to have rentals, but 516 units, and I've been to places where it's just strictly rentals, and I know crime's going to be coming. I mean, so if the developer wants to put some condos in there, a couple levels of condos, so they can at least watch over the rentals. I mean because to me it's a cash cow. I went to the guy's website, and it has investors. It's like you look at it and it says we can see if we can rent this or the dividends you'll get out of this. So if you look at his website, I mean it's just I don't know. it's personal opinion. So.
Okay, so you're concerned that it's if they were owned,
Yeah, if you had rental and own, I mean, I think
combination.
A combination, yeah, with a business underneath, that'd be great because it'd be nice to have storage down there because we don't really have anything in that whole area. Now you're building arenas right across, and so yeah, it really bothers me about that. And also the traffic. I mean, is there going to be anything done with traffic down there? Because it's going to be just a nightmare. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, right now it's starting to build up, and it's great because we have the SkyTrain. I believe in the SkyTrain and having that kind of traffic. But now we can have the arena and 516 units, and business. So you're going to have vehicles coming in there for business to go, shopping. So I mean, one single lane, it's going to be just. Are we going to be doing anything,
Is there a particular traffic pattern that we are looking at relative to the densification here? I know this is the first application we've had in this area.
Madam Mayor, there's currently some preloading that's occurring along 128th Street, and we will be doing some of that construction as the months progress.
So we'll be widening the roads in that area, probably relative to the arenas as well, I would guess.
We will be reviewing the requirements associated with the arena.
Yeah.
You're widening right now 128th. I noticed that in the last several weeks, months, and so it hits Highway 17, I heard. So that's what the whole reason is. But it seems like it stops right at 128th and 110th. So I just want to know, from 128th all the way to Sky Road, will that be widened? Because that's where you're going to have all the traffic coming in and bottlenecked.
Mr. Engineer.
Madam Mayor, the widening along 110 Avenue will not be occurring at this time. It will be occurring later on as part of the application, as well as with the arena development. There will be additional signal installed at 126A and 110 to regulate some of the traffic flow.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for expressing your concerns, sir. Okay, hand up, I see that. And was there someone else that I missed? Okay. You first.
Hi, Michael's my husband, and I live with him. My concerns are the same as his about having half rental, half ownership, because I grew up in Surrey, and all the low-income rentals were always near Wally Ballpark and that area. And the reason we bought on the other side was to stay away from the crime and stay away from that well-known road behind, which has now gotten worse and worse and worse. And my dad's home is closer to that, and all the crime that happens in his neighborhood from these people coming in. My also concern is this is one developer and all this money is going into his pocket. And we did research him, we did look up, and it's like almost like a timeshare thing. But the thing is it going to be like an Ani example where they start selling it on Airbnb, and are these going to be short-term rentals? There's no information on whether they're yearly rentals, 2 years, low-income housing, whether it's senior housing, what kind of rentals are these going to be? And the other concern is noise and traffic. The way it funnels in now, going through Scott Road and even up our road 111th, the traffic sits on 111th going down to the Patella Bridge, which we all know gets funneled into this little tiny area with lots of trucks. And it's been a huge issue and concern. And if we put this much housing with not the road infrastructure, it's going to be more of a bottleneck going down Scott Road, down that feeder route that comes in through the SkyTrain, and also around King George Highway and 111th. And I think we really need to think about the road infrastructure and also what the housing development rental issues are going to be used for, whether it's low income, whether it's seniors, whether it's high-end rentals or this short-term rental that seems to be happening a lot in BC, which is not, I'm not opposed to rentals because people can't afford to buy here anymore. But at least, like, if it's half owners and the owners decide to rent, then you give the community the opportunity to invest in rent, and it doesn't all go into one person's pocket. So say we can't afford to buy an apartment, but if we wanted to buy an apartment down there to rent, which it's hard now in strata, you can only rent like 4 in one strata building. If this guy did half ownership for people in the community to rent and then half or live in, it would make it more of an even keel. It puts money into the community's pocket as well as people living there and as well as rentals.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And yes, sir, you're up next.
Mrs. Mayor and Council, I got this letter from my neighbor. I'd like to know how important it is because you guys didn't send me one. I live at 10993 128 A Street, and my bottom lot touches 110th and 128th.
I'm sorry, sir, I can't answer that with the clerk.
I'm sorry, you'll have to speak up a little because I'm deaf.
Oh dear. Are you within? I don't know if your address is within the catchment area of the application.
Well, they're on 129th and I'm on 128th, so I'm one block closer than they are, and they all receive letters.
Then you should have received a letter. So.
Thank you so much. That's first start. Second, if they're going to build something down there, they have to think of the people that have the view off the top. So they get, the roofs should be nice so they're cosmetically acceptable. Westminster Drive-In Theater used to operate down here. I lived off my back porch to Westminster Drive-In Theater with 700 to 800 yards. On a really good night, the kids used to sit on our sun deck and listen to the drive-in theater. This is a sensitive sound area. Whatever you guys build, I can't stop it. But the garbage collection has to be on the west side, not the east, not the north, and not the south, because the sound just carries up that hillside like there's no tomorrow. Another thing that happens is it's on a bog. Home Depot's had a lot of trouble with their sewer lines. So whatever they build, if you got 500 families and their sewer line breaks down like Home Depot has, they're going to need an awful lot of porta potties. That's it.
Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. And we should find out your address and why you didn't get that. So, yeah, I'll have the clerk follow up with you on that.
I guess I'm not important enough because 30 years ago the city did the same thing. So thank you very much.
You must be on, hopefully you're on our tax roll. Anyone else on Bylaw 9 tonight? Madam Clerk? Oh, sorry, Councillor. Councillor Steele.
Thank you. Just a quick question to the developers to answer. I see, as I usually see, that it's limited indoor space, and it's indicated here why that is. But, you know, the outdoor spaces are not going to make up for indoor spaces in the middle of December, January, especially if we have a winter like we just did. And with those small spaces, if they're just in the indoor and allowing for the leasing office to arrange social events, that's going to create a lot of noise, first of all, in the hallways of the buildings, and no place for the social events. I think really we need to give a second closer look to the size of the indoor amenity space. It's vital in these places. There's small living. This will attract some families, and I am concerned about the lack of indoor amenity space. I think maybe we should give it a second look.
Thank you, Councillor. Madam Clerk, Bylaw number 10.
Is Official Community Plan Text Amendment Bylaw 18787. And this is to amend the official community plan bylaw 18020 as amended, is further amended to include housekeeping text and map amendments associated with the approval of Stage 1 of the Fleetwood Town Centre Plan. New development permit guidelines for energy-efficient construction, adjustments to 3 land use designations, reformatting the hazard land and farm protection development permit guidelines, and updating references to the new Sustainability Charter 2.0 is described in as described in corporate report number 2017 R096.
Don't have anyone signed up to speak to this bylaw. Is there anyone wishing to speak to the bylaw tonight on our text amendment for the OCP? I see no one. This is my final call. Okay, that concludes the public hearing portion of our meeting tonight. Moving into committee reports, Councillors, Social Policy.
Move the Social Policy Advisory Committee minutes of March 1st be adopted, received.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move the Diversity Advisory Committee minutes of March 7th, 2017 be received.
Second. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move Cultural Development Advisory Committee minutes of April 18th be received.
Second. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And move Parks, Recreation and Sport Tourism Committee minutes of April 19th.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move Surrey Heritage Advisory Commission minutes of March 22nd.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And move recommendations.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move minutes be received, Board of Variance, April 12th.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move minutes be received, Board of Variance, May 10th.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Several proclamations this evening. The first one is the Bike to Work Week, May 29 through June 4, whereas the City of Surrey supports, I lost it, just a minute, don't know what I'm supporting, whereas the City of Surrey supports the health and environmental benefits of active transportation and promotes cycling as a viable mode of transportation within Surrey, and whereas Bike to Work Week has been championed by the City for the last number of years as part of the City's commitment to active transportation, now therefore be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare May 29 through June 4 as Bike to Work Week in the City of Surrey, and encourage all residents to participate in Bike to Work Week. Intergenerational Day, Canada, June the 1st. Whereas Intergenerational Day Canada is a day to focus on the profound positive influence intergenerational connecting has in creating healthy, all-age friendly communities, and whereas it serves as a reminder and yearly invitation for each citizen to take one small, respectful step to bridge generations within his or her own local community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare June the 1st as Intergenerational Day Canada in the City of Surrey. LGBTQ and Newcomer Day, June 3. Whereas support for LGBTQ and newcomers, their families and their allies who face barriers to inclusion and support, and whereas Diversity, Community Resources Society and Simon Fraser University Department of Gender, Sexuality and Women's Studies are raising awareness of the unique needs and gaps in services for LGBTQ and newcomers. And now therefore be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare June 3rd as LGBTQ and Newcomer Day in the City of Surrey. National Health and Fitness Day, also June the 3rd, whereas it is in Canada's interest to improve the health of all Canadians and to reduce the burden of illness on Canadian families and on the Canadian healthcare system, and whereas the Government of Canada wishes to encourage the country's local governments to recognize the first Saturday in June as National Health and Fitness Day. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare June the 3rd as National Health and Fitness Day in the City of Surrey. Built Green Day, June 7. Whereas environmental sustainability is a key consideration as Surrey continues to grow, and whereas Built Green Canada promotes the use and practices, technologies and products that increase efficiency, reduce waste, enhance durability, and improve indoor air quality, and whereas Surrey is dedicated to promoting natural resources and encouraging sustainable development, now therefore be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare June the 7th as Built Green Day in the City of Surrey. World Oceans Week, June 1 through 8, and World Oceans Day, June 8. Whereas World Oceans Week Canada was established to encourage all Canadians to honor, celebrate, protect, and preserve our waterways and oceans, and whereas, as well as habitat, where 80% of the oxygen we breathe is generated. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare June 1 through 8 as World Oceans Week in the City of Surrey, and I encourage the residents of Surrey to actively conserve, preserve, and protect our waterways, oceans, and habitat. Safe Kids Week, June 5 through 11. Whereas preventable injuries are the #1 killer of Canadians aged 1 to 44, preventable injuries are costing the Canadian economy tens of billions of dollars, and whereas active transportation is important, it is also one of the riskiest activities for young people to engage in. Child pedestrian injuries are a leading cause of injury-related death for Canadian children aged 14 years or younger. And whereas Safe Kids Week is a week dedicated to raising awareness and seeking solutions to preventable child fatalities and serious injuries on the roads across Canada. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare June 5 through 7 as Safe Kids Week in the City of Surrey. Corporate reports.
Move corporate report R097, the Best Bar None program. That's to encourage them to pursue funding and authority from the appropriate provincial authority and industry associations prior to considering them for funding requests at the City of Surrey.
Thank you. All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate report R098, the approval of sale of closed portion of road allowance adjacent to 11079 and 11089 Ravine Road and 13270 and 13286 King George Boulevard.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate report R099, approval of sale of closed proportions of road allowance adjacent to 11348 128th Street, 12851 Bridgeview Drive, 12881 113B Avenue, and 12848 12851 12861 12869 114th Avenue.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate report R100, approval of sale of the closed portion of road allowance adjacent to 15331, 15345, 15355, 15361, and 15371 101 Avenue.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate report R101, award of contract for traffic signals and intersection improvements to LaForge Canada in the amount of $2,831,817.45.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate report R102, award of contract for a temporary district energy heating plant at 9639 137A Street to Quadra Mechanical Limited in the amount of $478,242.45.
Second.
In favour? In opposition? Carried.
Move corporate report R103, renewal of lease agreements with the Surrey Heritage Society of Former Museum building on the Cloverdale Fairgrounds for 2 years commencing June 1st, 2017 to May 31st, 2019.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate report R104, acquisition of property at 10475, 10477, 144 Street for the 105 Avenue for road and park purposes in the amount of $625,000.
Second.
Favour? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate report R105, acquisition of property at 14391 Crescent Road in the amount of $2,700,000.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move Corporate Report R106, road closure adjacent to 16668 103 Avenue and disposition of a portion of city parkland located at 16678 103 Avenue in the amount of $82,566.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move Corporate Report R107, late grant application to the PICS Community Service Society in partnership with the Sheriff of Vancouver in the amount of $1,000.
Second.
In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move Corporate Report R108, late grant application to the Sikh Motorcycle Club in the amount of $500.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move Corporate Report R109, sponsorship request to the Fraser Regional Aboriginal Friendship Society in the amount of $3,500.
Second.
In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move Corporate Report R110, Surrey Homeless Housing Society 2017 Annual General Meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move Corporate Report R111, Surrey City Development Corporation, the Annual General Meeting for 2017.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move Corporate Report R112, the Surrey Urban Forestry Program receives the SMA accreditation.
Second.
That was the one we received the plaque for earlier this evening. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move Corporate Report R113, award of contract for the supply installation of artificial turf at Cloverdale Athletic Park to Turf West Distributors in the amount of $1,278,900.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move Corporate Report R114, supplemental funding request for the 2017 Cultural Grants program. There are 7 supplemental grants totaling $32,500.
Second.
In favor? In opposition? That's carried.
And Corporate Report R115 and R116 were dealt with earlier. And Corporate Report R117, move that the text amendments to Surrey's zoning bylaw number 1993.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Business arising, H1.
Move third reading on H1, Madam Mayor.
Second.
Yes, okay. Could we just make sure, I think we had a speaker that was talking about some rhododendrons and some plants that were placed on their property for each of their grandchildren. Could we work really hard to see if there's a way that we can ensure that that application potentially leaves that alone and doesn't need to disturb it relative to the removal of trees and any of the trees that we can protect? I think we heard that the fencing was also an issue. Make sure that that's taken care of. And the half lane or the half road, no parking signs. That seems reasonable to me. It doesn't seem like they should be parking on a half road. So take that under consideration as well. Call the question on third. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On the zoning, move third.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed?
Madam
Carried.
Mayor?
Yes.
Oh, never mind, sorry.
I had the wrong one? Okay.
On H1, Madam Mayor, finally move that Council support the issuance of DVP 7917003000 upon final adoption of the related bylaw.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move third on 2.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Oh, and on 3, move everything I said over to 3. 1 and 2 had no speakers. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have a star beside it now. Okay, thank you. Councillor Hayne.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I'd like to move that that we send this one back to staff. And I'll move it, and then I'd like to speak to that if I get a second.
Second. Okay, it's on the floor, Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I do not want to unduly delay this application. It looks like a good application. It seems like everybody that came out and spoke this evening are supportive of redevelopment of that area. But I think it would be incumbent upon us to allow the neighboring property to at least bring forward their alternative subdivision layout to allow staff to look at that and see if that is viable or not. And again, not to unduly delay this, but just to allow us that time to review that application and see if there's a way that the applicant and the neighboring the neighbor could work together.
Okay, thanks, Councillor. And speaking to the motion, Councillor Woods.
Actually, Madam Mayor, I just want to echo what Councillor Haynes said. Thank you.
So you're going to support the...
I will be supporting the referral.
Thank you. Councillor Gill.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also will be supporting the referral back to staff. I think that it became really apparent that the consultant for the property to the west did not have the opportunity to work with the application or the applicant. So I'm hoping also that time is of the essence and that there's an opportunity for the applicant to work with that property to the west, but I would expect that to come back to council pretty quickly, so I'll be supporting the referral.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Starchuk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In fact, I think I'll make it even more specific with regards to the other party actually provided us with the notion that they have a solution. So I would expect that this can come back to us next council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if they work that fast.
I saw some nodding.
All right. Calling the question on the. Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Steele. Are you okay?
Yeah, I was just
going to support it. You're going to support it, so you get 2 seconds here. You can do that formally because I'm going to call the question on referral. All those in favour? Opposed? And that is referred.
Madam Mayor, I'm going to move third on 4.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
Madam Mayor, also on number 4, if I may, I know that the architect made some comments in terms of the owners of the adjacent property owners in terms of the strata, so I just want staff to take those comments into consideration prior to getting to 4th.
Yes. Okay.
If I may, Madam Mayor, move third on 5.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
I'm going to move third reading on 6.
Councillor Hayne on 6, or did you want to speak to 5?
No,
we're finished. Okay.
Yep. I'll second 6, and if I could just speak briefly to it.
Okay.
I appreciate the resident, the delegation coming out and speaking to this, and I know what it's like trying to get out of 176A and go left, and there's the fairground entrance, going left, going eastbound and the other way, and it's a very awkward little spot there when 7-Eleven gets busy going in and out of that area too. So I'll be supporting this, absolutely. This is a piece of property that desperately needs redevelopment in the Cloverdale Town Centre. But if we could look at that traffic pattern, that traffic management, particularly going west out of 176A, and how we can keep that flow through on 60th Avenue going, that would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your comments. Councillor Woods.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I actually met with the General Manager of Planning on this particular application because I couldn't quite understand the road network on the private property, and I found out that SWR means the sewer right-of-way, or whatever the heck it is. Anyways, I didn't pick that up. So that explains to me what I consider a somewhat unusual layout. I do have some concerns about the lack of parking behind the garages or in front of the garages. But having said that, this property in the downtown Cloverdale area is a very difficult property to develop, and I am going to support this application. I just hope that the parking issue doesn't spill over into the community. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your comments, Councillor, and I think we'll leave that traffic pattern issue to engineering, and we'll know how that looks at final. Okay, I'm going to call the question on third. All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
Also on 6, move that council support the issuance of a DVP 7916037500 upon final adoption of the related bylaw.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
Move third on 7.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
Move third on 8.
Second.
All those in favour? Sorry, Councillor.
Number 8?
On number 8, yes. Did you wish to speak?
Yes.
Could you push the button?
Push your button.
Push the button. Thank you. Now I can acknowledge you there. Okay, there you are.
Okay.
You have the floor.
Okay. I am going to oppose this application simply because of the overcrowding at Pacific Heights School. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for your comments, Councillor. It's on the floor. All those in favour? Opposed?
Opposed, Madam Mayor.
Carried.
Madam Mayor, move third on 9.
Second.
All those in favor? Councillor Steele.
Thank you. Further to my comment earlier, I'm not going to oppose this application. In fact, I'm glad to see rental applications coming forth. What I am suggesting, though, if we have more indoor amenity space in rental applications, I think we're going to have more success with rental buildings, and we're going to eliminate some of the problems that have been brought up, people wandering around, that kind of thing. So I would like to see us give more consideration to indoor amenity spaces when we're talking with rental buildings. People will tend to wander, and we'll have the same problems, I believe, that we have had up to now. So it's a comment, but I'm certainly going to support the application.
Okay, Councillor Woods.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'm going to also support the application, but I, too, have a concern with regards to the lack of indoor space. As a matter of fact, not only on this development, but on other developments, for some reason, or it appears to me that that there could be a developers are simply just going to pay the price and not incur the cost of having the indoor amenities. So I'm starting to become concerned about that. But there's a critical need of rental stock in the city. We all know that. So I will be supporting it.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Starchuk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also echo the same things. The indoor amenity space on this project is at about 25% of what the bylaw asks for. And while there's policy that allows them to provide a cash in lieu donation, I'm going to be probably speaking to this later on at the end about a possibility of a report or where the report sits with regards to time to take a look at this part of it. But in general terms, as far as a rental unit and where it's going, I don't have the same feeling as far as the traffic pattern. I think if it's next door to SkyTrain, that a lot of people that'll be there will be utilizing the transit system that'll get them to the north end of town or get them to the south end of town where they can get onto LRT in a few years.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Because this is such a large application for so many units, I am going to speak to it, and I share some of the concerns relative to rentals and ensuring that there is an appropriate vetting of who is taking space in those units, and I would expect before this comes to final that we have a clear understanding. My meeting with the applicant says that they are engaging an agency that is well known for its ability to manage rentals and to make sure that the vetting process of who's renting those units is appropriately cared for, and I would expect to see some better understanding of how that's going to play out when that comes forward to final, but I'll be supporting the application. All those in favour? Opposed? And that's carried.
Also, Madam Mayor, on number 9 on the zoning, move third.
Second.
All those in favour? In opposition? Carried.
On 10, move third reading.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
Also on 10, move final adoption.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? And that's carried.
On 11, move that the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to execute DVP 7917014500.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
On 12, move that the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to execute DVP 7917012500.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
On 13, move that the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to execute DVP 7916026021.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried. And I know there's no one in favour because this is placing more portables in, but all those prepared to accept the fact that the most recent decision of the Supreme Court makes this necessary. Any in opposition? Carried.
On 14, move that the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to execute DVP 7917015300.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
On 15, move that Council support the issuance of DVP 79160691.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
On 16, move that Council support the issuance of DVP 7917001300.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
On 17, move first on the close and move and dedication of highway portion of road.
Second.
All those in favour? Opposed? Carried.
Move second.
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, carried.
Move third.
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, carried.
On 18, move first.
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, carried.
Move second.
In favor, opposed, carried.
Move third.
Second.
In favor, opposed, carried.
On 19, move introduction.
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, carried.
Move first.
Second.
In favor, opposed, carried.
Move second.
Second.
Favor, opposed, carried.
Public hearing be set for June 12th.
Second.
In favor, opposed, carried. We have one delegation request. This is regarding short-term rentals. I wonder if, what is the wish of council? I would refer this to staff to deal with first, and then...
So move to refer to administration?
Yeah, refer to admin.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any notices of motion, councillors? Any other business? Councillor Starchuk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Some time ago, we had asked staff to evaluate the indoor amenity space bylaw and report back to us. So if we could just have an update when it comes to shirt sleeve.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. And as we're doing that analysis, could we just take a look at the escalating cost of real estate and whether or not the amount we're asking for now matches the market, or if it makes it easier for developers to say, I'm prepared to do less and pay you that money instead. So.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I can confirm that we are scheduled in June to bring forward some research to council.
That's perfect. Thank you very much. Okay. Any other business? Seeing none, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you very much. And all those in favor, we are adjourned.